everybody. My name is E-Double. Their name is PJ Harvey. Let's go.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back for a brand new video, and that is of course by the thumbnail and the title letting you know that it is going to be the best players to play for Scotland in the last 10 years or the last decade. Now, quick note, if you're looking at some of these players and saying they're absolutely gash, we've not had the best players, lads, in the last 10 years, if I'm being honest with you. I was looking back, I was quite surprised with how little quality we actually had, but we did have some gems in there, and unfortunately, like, maybe out of form or injuries or just slightly missing sort of the better players. That's what cost us. But let's talk about Craig Gordon. Now, Craig Gordon, especially during his Hearts period, he was booming, and he was actually one of the best players. He's never been the greatest at coming out and sort of receiving the ball from like corners. I think that's sort of hindered him and stuff. I believe he plays for Celtic now, and he's still a pretty good goalkeeper, but he's not really as good as he obviously was back in his Hearts days and even his early Sunderland days. Moving on to the next player, that's going to be Davy Weir. Now, Davy Weir was sort of hit and miss with Scotland. Like, he started off when he was younger, and then he was sort of like, went this long period where he didn't play, and then when he went back to Rangers, he got back in, and everyone was saying he shouldn't be in, but he turned out to be one of our better defenders, even though he was absolutely ancient. So I've given him an 85 card there just because of how good he was in defence, and he was sort of the leader that we needed at the time. We actually won a cup with him playing, which is weird. Moving on to Whittaker now, and again, he's not really the greatest player, but he is one of the better players that's played for Scotland. Now, I was sort of confused between either picking him or Andy Robertson or something like that, but they Whittaker's played a lot more games, so that's why he's in the squad. He's played decent, nothing too spectacular though. Moving on to Scott Brown, he's unfortunately not been as good as he was sort of picked to be in his younger days, especially when he's Hibs. And when he first joined Celtic for the first like 2 or 3 seasons, he was really good. He was like linked to Newcastle and stuff like that. I think he sort of went backwards. I don't know if it's been injuries or what. He's Scotland captain just now, and I actually don't like him playing for Scotland anymore. I used to like him like maybe 3 or 4 years ago when he could run the length of the park and he would get stuck into people. But I don't know, he just seems to like lose people a lot more now. He's giving away needless fouls and we're conceding from them. But I think it's to appreciate what he's done, especially in his early days when we needed some backbone in the midfield. He's certainly offered that with his slide tackles. Moving on to the next player, that's going to be James Morrison. Now, he's maybe not necessarily the heights with Scotland that he has done with like West Brom, but he has put in a couple of good performances. I think he's been one of the better players, even though he is born in England, right enough. He seems to have a bit of everything when he plays. I don't think we necessarily play him in the right position. We play him sort of back, and I don't think defensively or centre mid that's why he's maybe not as hit the highlights as he has. I think if you play him a bit more attacking, a bit like what we do with Sean Maloney, I think he would score a lot more goals and beat him a lot more impactful. But speaking of Maloney, now this one's quite weird because I was sort of looked back and stuff like that. Recently he's been playing a lot better than he has been. He scored a couple of free kicks, I remember against Belgium, a brilliant one actually, and then he scored that sort of wonder goal against Ireland. But he's not really hit the highlights that was sort of predicted of him, but he has played one of the better players. He's one of the most skillful players we've had in the Scotland shirt for quite a little while. Moving on to the most controversial, someone I personally don't really like, but you can't sort of argue with his stats. He scored 2 hat-tricks with Scotland, lads, and that's why he's in the squad builder. They are against Galbraith. I think I could score 2 hat-tricks against them right enough, even with my sort of nerve damaged shoulder right now. It's quite annoying. I'm trying to think like too much to say. It has got a pretty decent goal scoring record, unfortunately. Mostly they have been all goals against Galbraith, and that's why they're. But on his day when he is in form and stuff like that he does play pretty much a lot better than some of the other players that play for Scotland. Like Jordan Rhodes couldn't quite make it in there because he's not played enough games and stuff like that, which is quite painful for me, as you can probably tell by my voice. Moving on to the next player, that's going to be the Shagger himself. I always sing this song, so I'm going to do it again. He dives to the left, he dives to the right. Alan McGregor, shag 10 birds a night. And that's sort of what he does, lads. Probably most known now for his controversial sort of sticking the fingers up with Super Barry, but I think he's been the best player. I think he's sort of universally known for the last like 10 years. I think he's better, sort of a bit more commanding than Gordon. He's obviously played in the Premiership a little bit longer and had a bit more recognition than sort of Gordon did, because Gordon was always injured, didn't have the sort of best games. Moving on to the next player, that's going to be the old warhorse himself, Alan Hutton. Even when he doesn't play for a club, he plays for Scotland, and he always puts in maybe like a 7 out of 10. Never really the highest rate plays. I don't think he's hit the highs of he has done in his Rangers squad builder, where I put him as 85 during his sort of peak. I don't think he's quite hit the highlights with the Scotland squad, but he's always played. He's always gave his all, and I think that's the main thing that we can sort of say. I think the sort of main thing we can always take away from your Scotland squad is they sort of give their best, maybe not the best players, and that's sort of definitely with this defence. Caldwell, now I'm mostly throwing Caldwell in there because these goals he scored against France, to be honest with you. He was necessarily not the greatest defender, but when he did put in there, he threw his body in the line. I always liked that. Not the greatest positionally, but he was never scared to tackle. He stuck his head in where it hurt. Scores a couple of vital goals for me, and that's why he's in the squad builder. Oops, Rocky, be quiet, boy. Sorry about that. Rocky being in the video again. Probably show you a picture right now. Moving on to the next player, and that's going to be Christoph Berra. One of those players that's sort of been hit and miss for Scotland as well, but I think he's one of the most talented defenders that we've actually had, which is quite weird. I have chucked him in the squad there just because he's played a bit more games than Davy Ware, I think. Played for Hearts, played really well. I'm trying to think if he played any outstanding games for Scotland. I think he's just been like 83 rated for like a sort of the best players of the decade's not high at all, so don't think I'm like overrating these guys. These are pretty low. I don't think we've ever had a really good defence, and I think that's why everyone's really low. It's hard to say, but when you look back, who am I really going to pick in defence apart from them two? Am I going to choose like McManus or Caldwell brother? It's quite bad sort of that way. Moving on to the next someone, that's someone I really struggle with in the left back position. Like I mentioned earlier on, I was thinking about using Andy Robertson, but he's only played like 11 games. Mulgrew's played I think 22 or something, and he's chipped in with a couple of goals as well. We've never had a really good left back. Like we've played Alexander, that used to play for Burnley in there. We've played sort of centre backs. We've played Berra there a couple of times as well at the left back position. We've never had an outstanding left back, which has been really unfortunate because, like we said, we've always had a consistent Alan Hutton right back. We've never had a consistent left back for a very long time. I'm trying to think back to see if anyone else grabs a mind. I really can't think of any. If I do think of any at the end of the squad builder, I'll maybe chuck them in. But let's be honest with ourselves, we've never had a really good defence in the last 10 years. It's always where we've been let down. We've had a good midfield, which I think personally, at the peak of their powers, like when they were really on form, like I'm going to show you right now, and that's going to be Darren Fletcher. Now, someone is sort of ridiculed a little bit when he played for Manchester United, but then he grew to be one of their most unsung heroes, and he actually got a lot of respect when he was leaving. A lot of people said he shouldn't have left because they miss him in the dressing room and stuff like that. In Scotland, he always gave his all, like ran about, even when he had like that disease. Like he wouldn't play for Manchester United for a season, but he'd come on, pull the Scotland shirt, give his best for about 75 minutes before needing to be subbed off. Sort of at his peak, his powers, I'd probably rate him about 88, 89, and I know that may be slightly overrated, but if you're thinking about how important he was during the Champions League wins for like Manchester United, and some of the performances he put in for Scotland, like some of the running the length of the field, he's a bit of a hero. And let's talk about my personal hero, and that's why he's 90 right. I think I featured Barry Ferguson now like 3 or 4 times in my since I've returned about last month. I absolutely just love him. I've got to be honest with you. Loved him when he was playing for Rangers, scored a lot of goals. I think he's, especially during his early career, I think people forget how good he actually was. And when he did put on his shirt for Scotland, he always gave his all, run up and down the field, a lot like Darren Fletcher. I'd love them two to play with each other in their prime. I think they slightly missed each other. I think Ferguson was sort of, when he got his bad knee injury, when Fletcher sort of came into the squad, and I think that's why they started to miss each other. I wish this three-man midfield was all on form at the exact same time, or maybe even playing 4 in midfield when Scott Brown was in form, just to protect the back 4, have Fletcher and have Ferguson in the middle and McFadden slightly forward. I believe that midfield would be absolutely crazy, all at their peak of the powers. And let's talk about McFadden, sort of the hero. I think he'll always go down as a hero for Scotland, just because that goal he scored against France. But if you're looking back, he scored a lot of good goals, lads, for Scotland, like a lot. And I'm actually changing him to an 87 there, to an 89, just because how important he was. And like I said, he did score a lot of goals for Scotland overall. He scored really lovely goals, like against Lithuania. I know they're not really the best team, but he was very hit and miss for his club, but also whenever he pulled that shirt on, I think he knew like he was the most talented player at that time for Scotland, and he always gave us something a bit different. So let's talk about the offence now. It's a bit more recent and stuff like that as well. Moving on to the next one, I do have him playing right wing. I know he necessarily plays left wing for Scotland, but he did play right back for, I believe, his previous club, and he's played right back and right wing back for Scotland. So just for my OCD sort of style, that I've chucked him in that right wing position, and that might be a bit harsh because I know he's only played for like the last year, but I think he's head and shoulders the most attacking player we've had in a very long time. Like players like Barry Bannon's just slightly missing out, even though I really like them playing in the midfield position because they're attacking. Anya always tries to move forward, and I just wish he played for like players like that could pick passes like Ferguson or Fletcher or even McFadden. I think that offensively would have been a lot better and being able to cut teams apart, especially with his pace. Him and Naismith on the wings, like their workhorse attitude, like they get back and forth. It's good to sort of reminisce and think how good. Well, I don't say we would have won the Euros, but we'd have definitely. I think we would have personally qualified for something if this team was all playing necessarily all at their peak of their powers now. Like maybe their best game for Scotland, all at that one time where they played their best. I think they would have been brilliant. Naismith as well. Plays a lot more in the left wing position now than he does striker. I think that's where he's best as well because he gets sort of more involved in the play, tracks back where we need his workforce. Sometimes when he plays as striker, when he tracks back, we're sort of missing the sort of strike force place, and that sort of hurts us. Now let's talk about King Kenny himself. Played for Rangers and Celtic and Derby and all that good jazz. I think he's the most lethal goal scorer we've had, I believe, in the last maybe like 50 or 60 years since like the days of like Dalglish and like Law and stuff like that as well. And that's sort of credit to him as well. He was never really the most favoured player for Scotland, if we're being honest, but he did score a lovely goal against England. I think he scored 22 goals for Scotland, and it was a pretty decent turnaround. And I believe on form, like his work, his pace when he was young, I can just imagine what Naismith when he was on form, like at his best peak, Miller when he was on form at his best peak, and Anya when they were at form. Can you just imagine how good that offense would have been for us? I think it'd have been a lot better than what it had, like Ferguson on form, Fletcher on form, McFadden at his best, Brown at his best. His defence is still weak personally, I think, and that would still sort of hurt us. But overall, I think this squad would have been really fun. Who are some of your other players that think that should be in the squad builder? Remember, don't take it too serious, it's just a little bit of fun. And of course, if you want any of your suggestions for squads, make down and drop them down below. I've been CJ Novo 992. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.